Question number 14. I'm going to stand off to the side for a moment because it has a rather large graph. But first, just to read through the question. So it's told me the axis of symmetry of a graph of a quadratic function. So we know it's a parabola. So the axis of symmetry is x equal to -1/2. Draw the axis on the following grid. We'll do that in a moment. I just want to be able to see what the whole question is about. Then they tell me the graph of the quadratic intersects the axis at n, being point 2, 0. And there's another second point m, where it also intersects the x-axis. And if I scroll farther down, they want me to clearly mark and label point m. And then they tell me the graph has this function, y equals x squared plus bx plus c. And to find the values of b and c, and then draw the graph. So we have all of that to do on this graph. So first thing they told me was that the axis of symmetry is at -1/2, and they wanted me to draw that axis. So x equals, rewrite that, -1/2. And then they had told me that there's a point n at 2, 0. So point n at 2, 0. And then there's a point m that also crosses the x-axis and distinctly mark the point m. And so we know by symmetry that this distance should be the same for the point m. And so we're 2.5 away, so a half, 1, 2. As you kind of saw, there's clearly marked point m. And then let me just scroll down, remind myself of everything they want me to do. They want me to now find the equation x squared plus bx plus c. And they want me to find b and c. So y equals x squared plus bx plus c. Now, typical of them is to give you variables here, but also the axis of symmetry. So the simplest way to find b is that the axis of symmetry formula is the negative of b divided by 2a, where we have ax squared bx plus c. So my b is here, my a, I can kind of fill in that 1, and I know that x is -1/2. So if I can solve for b now by -1/2. That's 2 times 1. And could it be so nice that -1/2 is supposed to equal -b over 2? So clearly b has to be 1, so that -1/2 equals -1/2. I can cross multiply and continue to solve, but really I see that b equals 1. So now up here in my equation, y equals x squared plus x plus c, because I now know that b is equal to 1. And now I just need to figure out c, and I can do that by substituting in one of these points that I know. And it's my pick. I'll pick the positive 2. So 0, 2 squared plus 2 plus c. So 4 plus 2 plus c. 6 plus c. -6 is c. And so now I have my whole equation, y equals x squared plus x plus, -6. And if anything, I know that -6 is my y-intercept. And now I need to go and make a graph. I would put this equation into your calculator so that you can get some more points. because this is a graph. It's accurate, so you should be just as accurate. So let me get rid of this so that I can make an accurate drawing. And again, the easiest way that I'm going to do that is plug the equation into my calculator and then go to the table so that I have some points to graph. And I'll do that now. So I'm going straight to my calculator and plug in the equation now that I know it. Instead of graphing it, I'm going to go to the table so that I can get the ordered points x and y that I'll use on my graph. And as I can see, I can scroll up and down and get all the points basically that are fit in the window of the graph I'm given. So from my table, 3, 6, 2, 0, 1, -4. Now I can actually use this axis of symmetry idea, but let me just continue. -1 should be -6. And then -2 is -4. And 3 is 0. And -4 is 6. Let me get rid of my equation now. I'm not going to draw a straight line here. It's a parabola. There should be a minimum value here, and I'm going to sort of sketch it in. But there is a rough sketch of what that quadratic looks like. Again, make sure you don't just go straight across because you know it's a parabolic shape. It should be a curve at the bottom.